Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Lady Poe Designs. It's Erin. I've got Trash to Treasure thrift flips, and I've actually created a collection. I've always wanted to do this. I never have, but on all 4 pieces that I've done today, I've used the same color and the same transfer book. Granted, it is a transfer book that is retired, but there are still some vendors out there that are stockists that do have it in stock, so you might be able to find it. So first we're going to start with this spoon rest that I found. It's just a regular spoon rest. We're going to start with some Dixie Belle Slick Stick and put 2 coats on it because it is slick. I didn't want the paint to come off. So we're going to coat that and let it completely dry. And the color we're going to be using throughout this entire collection is Skeleton Key. So we're going to give this 2 coats of Skeleton Key and let it completely dry as well. I used this color on my last video and found out how much I liked it, and I wanted to use it again. So we're using the Desperado transfer. And like I said, I realize it is retired, but like I said, there are some stockists out there that might still have it. So if you want to duplicate any of these, you might be able to find it. But you can do this with any transfer. It doesn't have to be this transfer book. So we're going to take one of the rose elements and put this down on the inside of the spoon rest. We're going to take this spoon rest. I'm going to call it a trinket tray. You know, something to put your rings on, or, you know, put your bracelets in, or whatever. I'm thinking of putting this into like a bathroom, like on your bathroom counter or something like that. So just like any of the transfers, we're using our transfer stick to transfer this on, lifting as we go. And then once we get that down, come on, we're going to use the back of the sheet to burnish that down. I cut off the top 2 little leaves because I didn't want it hanging over the end of it. So I'm going to put them down at the bottom because I still wanted to use them. So I'm going to place those down at the bottom. I just cut them apart and just overlapped them. You do not have to use a transfer the way it is in the book. Just always remember that. I cut up transfers all the time. I'm actually known for cutting them up. So if you don't like the way they're laid out, cut them up. So I've got those down. So now I'm going to seal this in with gator hide from Dixie Belle. I like using this on anywhere that I know there's going to be a lot of moisture. I've actually tested this gator hide stuff, and it actually makes water like bead up. So I really like it. This is going to be another element throughout this entire collection is DIY's Pennies from Heaven. This is going to be somewhere on each piece. So on this one, I'm going to take it around the edge of the dish. So I'm going to, and I had to use quite a few coats because it is thin and it starts out really light at first. And then I get a super detailed brush and I'm just randomly taking it into certain spots of the rose and the leaves just to give them little pops of that copper. And I think this turned out so stinking cute. So spoon rest into a trinket tray. I absolutely love it. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. Okay, so the second part, and You know I couldn't go a video without turning my dead gum camera on. Okay, forgot to turn my camera on, and I'd already started painting this glass vase. And this glass vase looked like one of those glass bricks that used to be in bathrooms like in the 90s. That's what it reminded me of. But it was really pretty, and I loved the shape of it, and I thought it would go really good with this collection. So I used a pouncer to put a very, very thin but solid layer of the skeleton key over the entire vase. And we're going to lock that in with the gator hide. We're going to completely lock in all of that paint so it can't be reconstituted, because it's still DIY paint, so it can be reactivated with water. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Plus, I want something that the transfer is going to stick to. And I've never put transfers on glass after I put paint on it, so I was super afraid that it was going to come up. So I was trying to be as careful as I could, and it actually worked really good. I was rubbing so soft. But this is a couple of the little line elements that are in the back of the transfer, the Desperado transfer book. But I put these down the sides, and I did the same one on the other side. I just wanted it to have just something, and I thought these would be perfect. I was so afraid the paint was going to come up with these, but it didn't. I was really surprised. So I'll put these on the sides, and then I'm going to lock those in because I was so afraid they were going to scratch off. So I'm going to go ahead and lock those in with a coat of gator hide. So now on the flat sides, the wider flat sides, I'm going to put down my cactus. So the first one, I chose one of the taller ones. So I'm going to lay him down. So while I'm transferring him down, I just want to let you know that if you're looking for anything DIY related, IOD related, salt wash, Roycycled papers, anything like that, go see my girl Sammie at Unicorn Designs. She has got you covered. I will have her website below. And then on the other side, do this little prickly booger. He's so cute. I love this transfer book, and I loved it so much when it came out. I bought 3 of them. I'm not even joking. And I have been saving it because I knew it was retired and I haven't wanted to use it. But I thought these would be the perfect things to use it on. So the Pennies from Heaven, on this one, I'm basically going to trace every edge of this vase, because they're very sharp edges, right? So anywhere where there's a corner or an edge, it's going to get painted with the Pennies from Heaven. So that copper is going to outline all of those boxes. So I'm going to go around everywhere where there's a corner where it meets. And then, of course, at the top, at the rim, it took probably about 4 coats to make that a solid coat, but I did it. So we're going to paint that on the top. And then, of course, we've got to seal all of that in so it don't go nowhere. And seal in the Pennies from Heaven just in case. And this is how the vase turned out. And the Pennies from Heaven, I think, is perfect the way it is. Very clean lines, very sleek. I didn't want to age any of these. I wanted all of them to be very clean. I wanted them to stand on their own. So let me know what y'all think. Okay, so the next one is a wooden tray, a very well-loved wooden tray. And This was actually, it's a really good wooden tray. I'm going to use the Clear Salvation solution. I can never say that. But I wanted to show you, it's a Carver wood product, wood.com, but it's tongue and groove. It's a really good receiving tray. Look, it has stamps all in it that I could not get up, but it had a little paper sticker on the front that I had to use alcohol. But this wood color was just very dated to me, so it's gonna get painted. So we covered the whole thing with the Salvation solution, and then we're going to cover the entire thing with Skeleton Key. The only thing that doesn't get covered on this is the bottom, but the bottom has a really, really good felt bottom. You saw that when I flipped it over. The felt bottom on this was incredible, and I was not going to peel that up, so I left it. But we are going to cover the whole thing with Skeleton Key. Now, this is just one of those cutting boards from Dollar Tree. I used that so the tape would stick to it because it wouldn't stick to my silicone mat. But I've got pieces of tape with half wood beads, and this is where the copper's coming in on the tray. I'm gonna paint all of the beads with the Pennies from Heaven. So I'm gonna paint those, and then I'm gonna paint a top coat over those as well, just so it don't go nowhere. And then I'm gonna set those aside and let them completely dry. So now I'm gonna go in with the same gator hide and seal the entire tray and make sure that Skeleton Key doesn't go anywhere. Because I didn't use salt wash or anything, this is a very slick layer. I wanted it to be very slick. So I put 2 coats, and now I'm sealing all of that in. So in the same book, it has this little saying. So I'm going to put the saying in there. Put that at the top. I love this saying. And rub that in, lifting as you go. Y'all know how to do transfers right now, so I'm not going to leave all of the transfers in now. But we've got the wording down. And then for the bottom half of it, I'm going to use the big boy. There are 2 buffalo in this book. There's one that's kind of like a black silhouette, and then there's this one that has all the detail. And I just think this one really looked good against the Skeleton Key color. It looked really, because it's almost like a creamy grayish color. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it almost has like a creamy color to it. But it looked really good against the Skeleton Key. So I've got him put down. So now all of my beads have dried off, so I'm going to take those off of the tape. And I'm going to start gluing those around the outside of the tray itself. So it's almost going to make it look like it has studs, if that makes sense. So I'm going to stand it up on its side once I play with my camera angle. But using my STARBOND thick super glue and just a little bitty dot of hot glue, I'm going to glue these going all the way around the tray. And I'm basically lining it just like I used on the vase to line the edges. I'm using the beads to basically do the same thing on the tray. So I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. So I got all of those down. Now I'm going to lock everything in with the gator hide, so his beautiful self doesn't go nowhere. And once I've got that done and it's dry, this is how the tray turned out. Now, I debated on distressing it back, showing some of the wood, but I couldn't because it was so pretty when I finished it. Tell me what y'all would have done. Would y'all have distressed it back, or do you like it better like this? Let me know. Okay. Last but not least, we've got a cabinet door. Just a plain white cabinet door. Doesn't even have holes in it for a doorknob or anything. It's just cabinet door. So we're going to take skeleton key and some salt wash. Now, you know I had to use salt wash on at least something. So we're going to take salt wash across this entire cabinet door. Okay. So it's going to be one solid color. So we're going to set that aside, let it completely dry. Now from that same transfer book, of course, there's two skull pictures that has writing behind it. And this is the right facing horn skull one. But the letters didn't land right on the little inset, so I had to cut the top sentence and the bottom sentence off for it to sit right on the ridges. I don't know if I'm making sense or if I'm just rambling, but you'll see. See, I had to cut it off to where it fits right. I didn't care if the horn or the skull hung over, but I wanted you to be able to read it. And if I tried to rub it into those little insets, you wouldn't be able to read it. And to me, that would have just bothered me. So this took me so long to transfer on. Oh my goodness. This booger, oh, she's a big one. And I have rheumatoid arthritis, for those of y'all that don't know. My hand was cramping so bad, I had to take a couple of breaks. So I had to pause it a couple of times, but I got it down and none of the paint came up and it looks beautiful and glorious and I love it. And oh, she turned out so pretty. Look at it. Okay, so when I tell you I have a bunch of solo flowers, I have a bunch. I used them for my wedding, and I still have tubs and tubs and tubs of them in boxes. These are all the little roses and succulents. So I thought I was going to use succulents, and I changed my mind because there are no succulents in the transfer book. There's cactus, but the floral element in the book are roses. So I went with the roses. So when you get solo flowers from like actual solo flower, oh, sorry, my dog's growling. She wants to bark at something. You can actually dye them. And I dyed quite a bit for my wedding, so I'm pretty much an expert at it. I've got a bowl of warm water, lukewarm water, and I'm putting the JRV anvil paint. And I'm basically doing that because, you know, the JRV has the top coat. I wanted these to at least repel a little bit of dust, but I also put some little black dress in it just to get more of that black pigment. So it did come out to be a darker black than just using the JRV, because the JRV almost made it look blue, which was kind of weird to me, but it's okay. I made it work. So see, once you take them out, they turned out really cool. It almost made them looks slate, kind of. But they took the color really well. I really think you're supposed to use acrylic paint when you dye these, but this worked just fine. So I'm going to continue to dye all of my roses. These are the harder bark wood ones, so they're not very flexible, but these are my favorite. I forgot the name of them. They have a name, but they're really soft, and the middle of them have raw wood circles. But see, when they're in the water, they kind of soften up, and you can peel the petals back and kind of spread the petals apart and make it fuller and make it look like it's bloomed out more. So I did that to the bigger ones. But I'm going to dump them all again and make them a little bit darker. Set those aside and let them dry. Okay, so the Pennies from Heaven on this one, I'm basically going to make the trim around the door like a frame. So basically, it looks like I just put a frame around this. It looks really cool. But we're going to take that gator hide and lock in this transfer and lock in that Pennies from Heaven that I put around the side, because I took it around the edges too. So it fully looks like a 1-inch frame around this entire door. And you'll see it here in a second. Oh, well, I had to pick out a dog hair. I didn't know I left that in. Sorry. See, it looks like, stop. What are you growling at? Goodness gracious. So, got that completely covered. It's dried. Sorry, guys. But these are the flowers when they're dried. So now I'm going to take the Pennies from Heaven and I'm going to basically trace every petal, like paint the end of every petal with, I had to change brushes because that one wasn't working. I'm going to paint every little petal, just the edge of it, with the Pennies from Heaven, just to give it that little pop. So you'll see, I get a little bit out of frame here, so I'm sorry. But you'll see I'm just painting the edges of the wood. And then on those daisies, I do paint the middle. But look how pretty. So I continue to do that with all the rest of them. Just painting the edges of each petal. I even do it with the larger roses. So when I get those done and they're all dry, I'm going to use E6000 and super glue. And we're going to give our beautiful horned lady her crown. So I'm going to put the bigger, I think they're called butterfly roses. I can't remember what they're called on the website, but I'm going to put those up top. And then the ones, see, those have actual bark petals. They're really pretty. But I'm going to put those right underneath. And then the 3 smaller daisy looking ones, I just kind of scattered those crossways across the top of it. Put that one on the bottom and then that one right smack dab in the middle. But let those dry and our cabinet door turned into a work of art is done. What do y'all think? I think she's absolutely gorgeous, and I love her. I think the whole collection turned out beautiful. I love the skeleton key. I love the pop of Pennies from Heaven on every single piece that's different. And I love that none of it is distressed. It's very clean. It's very simple. But I'm really happy with the way these turned out, and I'm really excited to see what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Really helps me out. And remember, y'all are beautiful and you can do hard things. Thanks, guys.